listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street.
Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Afternoon, everybody, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. The next shot, Jason. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company. And I do appreciate you joining me today on this show. So you know the drill. Every Wednesday, we do a Wellness Wednesday show where we talk about matters that are important to your health. And of course, today is no exception. We are going to be looking at what we're calling the show today is the square of health. The square of health. You may recall that a couple of weeks back, we did the triangle of disease based on a lecture by pharmacist Ben Fuchs. And at that time, he looked at we talked about how there are three main systems of the body that you need to be concerned about when it comes to all disease, because disease is nothing more than degeneration of the body. So he talked about the digestive system, he talked about the blood sugar system, and he talked about, I believe the third one was the adrenal system. And so that was the triangle of disease that we needed to be aware of. And so today we are going to be talking about the square of health, because there are four main points when it comes to maintaining your health. And today we're going to look at those four corners or 4 points of the square of health. So when we think of the square of health, an easy way to remember this, and just so you know, Jason, my laptop is completely freaking out. So I need you to control it until this stops freaking out. So when we're talking about the 4 corners or the 4 points of the square of health, there's an acronym that will help you to remember it. NORM, N-O-R-M. If you can remember NORM, you'll be able to remember these 4 points of 4, corners of the square of health. N stands for nutriate. O stands for oxygenate. R is rest or relaxation. And M is movement. So just remember NORM, nutriate, oxygenate, rest or relaxation, and movement. These are the 4 key points of health, of keeping yourself healthy. Now, obviously, we have to deal with the triangle of disease. So this is under the assumption that we would have paid attention to the triangle of disease to the degree that we are now able to move on to focus on the square of health. Okay? So the first point, N, nutriate. In the last several shows on Wellness Wednesdays, we've been talking about the 7 strategies for healthy living, and we talked in detail about nutrition. We talked in detail about the vitamins that are necessary for good health, the minerals that are necessary for good health. We covered that. We covered all of that in detail. So nutriate is sort of the umbrella that encapsulates all of what we would have gone in detail about the past several weeks. So here again is pharmacist Ben Fuchs. For those of you who are not familiar with him, pharmacist Ben, his backstory is that he started as a pharmacist, went off to school, got his degree in pharmacy or whatever it is that they get to qualify themselves for that title, and started working at one of the pharmacies in the United States. But at the same time, he somehow stumbled across the information that nutrition plays a very big role in health and healing. And so what he started doing was as he would fill a prescription whenever his clients came in with a prescription from a doctor, he would fulfill the prescription, but then he would say, maybe you should take a little this with that, because that'll help it as well. And he would also recommend for them nutrition, right? So he found himself more and more and more recommending nutrition over the pharmaceuticals. So it got to the point where the client would come into the pharmacy with a prescription. He would look at the prescription, find out what the diagnosis was, realize that nutrition would work better to fix this than this pharmaceutical, and say, well, maybe you should go in this direction. And and his clients were getting better, but the pharmacy wasn't getting richer. So eventually his bosses pulled them to the side and say, this ain't gonna work. You gotta go. Because you pushing nutrition more than you pushing pharmaceuticals. And we are, after all, a pharmacy. So they let him go. So what he did was he started his own pharmacy, but he focuses mostly on nutrition in his pharmacy. Okay. So that's the backstory of Ben Fuchs. And so the square of health, the first thing we're going to talk about is N. Remember, there's Norm, nutriate. And here is pharmacist Ben talking about the importance of nutrition to the body.
Nutriate means, obviously, nutrition. There's 2 kinds of nutrition. When we talk about nutrition, we often don't distinguish between these 2 types of nutrients, macronutrients and micronutrients. Now, macronutrients and micronutrients under ordinary healthful circumstances should come together. What we call a whole food is a food that has macronutrients and micronutrients balanced out. Your macronutrients, by the way, are protein, fat, carbohydrate, fiber, and water. Your micronutrients are your vitamins, minerals, and perhaps phyto or plant nutrients. In a whole food, a food that's not processed, the protein, fat, carbohydrate, fiber, and water concentrations match up with the vitamin and mineral concentrations. What we call a processed food is a food that has those 2 aspects divorced. Has the macronutrients, but not the micronutrients that you need to work with those macronutrients. Your micronutrients, protein, fats, and carbohydrates, and fiber and water to a certain extent, these are storage forms of energy. Actually, you know what? We won't even count fiber and water because those aren't really storage forms of energy, even though from a macro perspective, you need lots of them. But from an energy perspective, you could think of protein, fats, and carbohydrates like logs on a fire. They store energy that the body will be able to use. The micronutrients, the vitamins and the minerals, they're like magical pixie dust that activates the macronutrients. It activates the energy in the protein, fats, and carbohydrates, which is why you want them together, which is why a whole food is so much better for you than a processed food. The micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals that are going to activate the macronutrients are in a whole food at just the right proportion, in just the right balance that you need to get the most bang for your buck from your macronutrients. If you try to access energy from macronutrients, proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, without having the right micronutrients, you're going to need a lot more protein, fats, and carbohydrates. And this is so important because it tells you that if you have enough micronutrients, you don't need to eat as much macronutrients. And the macronutrients are where you get your calories from. The micronutrients don't have any calories. And we've talked about this before, how caloric restriction is one of the most important anti-aging strategies and anti-disease strategies you could ever employ. So by making sure you have enough micronutrients to go with your caloric or calorie-dense macronutrients, you'll allow yourself to get more bang for your buck from the protein, fats, and carbohydrates. You won't have to eat as many calories. That's why people lose weight when they start a micronutrient program. And by the way, this was Dr. Wallach's great insight. He noticed that people were getting plenty of macronutrients, but they weren't getting the micronutrients to access the energy out of the macronutrients. Does that make sense? So you got the first aspect of our square of health is nutrition. You got to take into account your calorie-dense macronutrients, your proteins, your fats, and your carbohydrates to go into balance out with your micronutrients, your vitamins, and your minerals, and your phytonutrients or plant nutrients. By phytonutrients and plant nutrients, I'm talking about things like the carotenes and the flavonoids and phytosterols. You may have heard of some of these terms. These are nutrients that are found in plants. Interestingly, the only reason we don't consider the phytonutrients to be essential, like must-haves, the way we do the vitamins and the minerals, is because we didn't really know these things existed until maybe 40 years ago or 30 years ago, until we got going with electron microscopy and our ability to detect these very, very tiny trace elements that are found in fruits and vegetables. It could be that if we knew about or we had access to the kind of detection mechanisms we have now and over the last 20, 30, 40 years, when we were coming up with vitamins and minerals and all of these essential nutrients, it could be that we would consider the carotenes and the flavonoids and the phytosterols and the phytonutrients to be as essential as the vitamins and minerals, and it turns out they might be. We don't know. In any case, the phytonutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, these are the micronutrients that help you access the energy, the caloric energy from the macronutrients. Point number one on our square of health, nutriate.
Okay, so we all know that if you've been following my show for a while, you know that I'm huge on nutrition. And he did a great job of explaining why nutrition is so important and how it works on the body. So there are 90 main nutrients that your body needs, right? And of those 90, you're talking 60 minerals, that's 60, 16 vitamins, 12 essential amino acids, 2 essential fatty acids. That's your foundation. And once again, we would have covered all of the points of the triangle of disease. So this is assuming that you would have dealt with all of that, which nutrition obviously assists with. Then you will find that your body will be performing at optimal levels once you nutriate with those 90 essential nutrients. Now, there are two things that nutrition cannot outdo, and that is poor diet and toxins. No matter how much nutrition you are taking, if you have a poor diet, the poor diet is going to win. If you are facing environmental toxins or stress or that kind of thing, that eventually will win. So there's only so much nutrition can do. But if you do your part in terms of eliminating the toxins, in terms of eating right, and you are nutrifying your body will respond. We have found that some of the most serious conditions that people face can be reversed simply by stop doing the damage that you're doing to your bodies through the poor diets and by nutrifying your body. Now, there's some people who say, oh, Michelle, you always pushing this nutrition, but I can get everything I need in my food. That's unfortunately not true anymore because of modern farming techniques. Our soils have been so depleted over the years, especially those of us in the hurricane belt, where every time there's any major flooding or any major hurricane that erodes the soil, our soils just don't have the minerals that they did generations ago. And so as a result, whatever grows from there is mineral deficient. And you have to literally replenish that soil with the minerals in order for what grows from it to be minerally rich. So if you are eating foods from a source that is not doing that, then the foods that you're eating, I'm sorry to tell you, don't have the nutritional value that you think they do, even if they're organic, because organic only means that they don't have pesticides and herbicides. It doesn't mean they have the amount of nutrition, the nutrients that your body needs. So you have to supplement in order to get everything that the body needs. You can't do it without supplementation. It's impossible nowadays. And this is why you could find a lot of people who are only vegan and still have health issues because they're still not getting the nutrition that their bodies need, even though they're not eating certain things that are believed to be damaging to the body. But if you are not supplementing, you're not getting everything that your body needs. So supplementation is extremely important. You have to nutriate the body. The only challenge is, though, that you got to make sure you're taking the right types of supplements, because not all supplements are created equal. And I would have explained this again and again and again on the show about how when supplements are made from minerals, for instance, in their raw state, and only crushed up and put into a capsule for you to take, your body doesn't know what to do with that, because our bodies were not designed to absorb minerals in their raw state. Our bodies were designed, though, to be able to pull out those minerals from a plant-based source. That's the way God designed us. So in order to extract the minerals from your supplement, it has to be plant-derived. So a lot of people right now are spending a lot of money buying supplements that are really not doing anything for them because of the way those supplements are formulated. Their bodies can't absorb it. Their body can't break it down. So it's important that you find a good program, a good supplemental program that is plant-derived. Longevity is a good one. It's not the only one out there, but it is a very, very good source of plant-derived nutrition. And you will find that when you find a really good source of plant-derived nutrition, the absorbability rate shoots up. The absorbability rate, for instance, for the longevity products is up to 98%. So this explains why we get such great results. Why, a client was on high blood pressure medication for 40 years, and after 2 weeks of nutrition, his pressure was normal. This is because the body is absorbing those nutrients that it is screaming out for. Because remember, when we covered the triangle of disease, Ben Fuchs explained that all disease is really just a degeneration of the body. We call it something different based on where that degeneration is, but it's all just degeneration. And the body degenerates if it's not getting the adequate nutrition it needs for the cells to perform at their optimal level. So if you are relying strictly on the medical approach to your disease, you're in trouble, because the medical approach is we're going to treat your symptom, because for the most part, they don't believe in the body's ability to heal itself. So I literally one of my health coaches reached out to me yesterday to help her with one of her clients. This woman is on, must be about 10 different medications. I'm like, oh my God. But the thing is, the medical approach is, okay, you have this symptom, let me give you this to take for that. Okay, you have that symptom, let me give you this to take for that. And by the time they finish, you taking 12 different medications and still ain't getting no better, because all they do is manage your illness. Whereas when you nutriate your body will then heal, your body will then correct itself. So this is the importance of nutrition. You have to get adequate nutrition so that your body can correct the problems that it's facing once you would have done your part in cleaning up the diet and eliminating the toxic environment. Okay, so nutriate. That's the first point of the square of health. The second point on the square of health is oxygenate. Oxygen. Oxygen is a key element in the square of health. So once again, let's go over to Ben Fuchs to learn more about the importance of oxygenation.
Nutriate means obviously nutrition. There's two kinds of nutrition. When we talk about nutrition, we often don't distinguish between these two types of nutrients: macronutrients and micronutrients. Now, macronutrients and micronutrients under ordinary healthful circumstances should come together. What we call a whole food is a food that has macronutrients and micronutrients balanced out. Your macronutrients. The second point is oxygenate. This is so important and underappreciated. Nothing happens without oxygen. In fact, you can go 40 days without calories. You can go probably 20 days or 30 days without certain vitamins. You can go a week without water, but you can't go 3 minutes without oxygen. Oxygen is absolutely vital, and the reason why it's underappreciated is because we can survive on small amounts of oxygen. We don't need to have abundant oxygen just to survive, so many of us are just surviving. Nutriate means obviously nutrition. There's two kinds of nutrition. When we talk about nutrition, we often don't distinguish between these two types. The second point is oxygenate. This is so important and underappreciated. Nothing happens without oxygen. In fact, you can go 40 days without calories. You can go probably 20 days or 30 days without certain vitamins. You can go a week without water, but you can't go 3 minutes without oxygen. Oxygen is absolutely vital, and the reason why it's underappreciated is because we can survive on small amounts of oxygen. We don't need to have abundant oxygen just to survive, so many of us are just surviving, and we don't realize that this lack of oxygenation or this low level of oxygenation, poor respiratory techniques, are depriving us of maximum life. So oxygenation is absolutely critical. It's even more critical than the nutrition component. It's more critical than water. It's more critical than anything. So oxygenation, key element. Second point on our square of health, making sure you're breathing nice and slowly, making sure you're breathing nice and deeply. One of the things that happens when we go into emergency mode, stress mode, survival mode, if you will, is our breath becomes shallow and quick. And a lot of times we don't even realize this is happening because it's something that we live with for a large part of our lives. Short, shallow, quick breathing. Many of the things that we take for granted as being components of degenerative disease, for example, we talked about sticky blood and thick blood, poorly circulating blood. A lot of these issues with the circulatory system are really oxygen issues more than anything else. So second point on the triangle of diseases, or on the fourfold square of health, is oxygenation.
Okay, we apologize for the little technical challenges we're having where the wrong video started playing a couple of times. So oxygen, as you would have heard, Ben, is extremely important. You're talking good, clean oxygen, making sure that you're, breathing in good, clean air is extremely important to your overall health. Oxygen forms about 21% of the air all around us. And in your body, oxygen forms a vital role in production of energy in most cells. But if gases can only efficiently diffuse across tiny distances, how does oxygen reach the cell deep inside your body? Good question. Edna Butler tracks a surprising complex journey of oxygen through your body in this video, and this lesson is animated by Compote Collective.
You breathe in about 17,000 times per day. It's a process you rarely think about, but behind the scenes, a huge coordinated effort is playing out. Your vital organs, the gut, brain, bones, lungs, blood, and heart, work together to sustain your life by delivering oxygen to tissues throughout your body. Most of our cells need oxygen because it's one of the key ingredients of aerobic respiration. That's the process that produces a molecule called ATP, which our cells use to power their many incredible functions. But getting oxygen throughout our bodies is a surprisingly difficult task. Gas enters cells by diffusing in from their surroundings, and that only happens efficiently over tiny distances. So, for oxygen to reach the cells within our bodies, it needs a transportation network. This is where our 20 trillion red blood cells come in. Each one contains about 270 million oxygen-binding molecules of hemoglobin, which is what gives blood its scarlet hue. To make these cells, the body uses raw materials that become available from the food we eat. So in some ways, you could say that oxygen's journey through the body really begins in the gut. Here, in an amazing display of mechanical and chemical digestion, food gets broken down into its smallest elements, like iron, the building block of hemoglobin. Iron is carried through the cardiovascular system to the body's hematopoietic tissue. This tissue is the birthplace of red blood cells, and it can be found enclosed within our bone marrow cavities. The kidneys regulate our levels of red blood cells through the release of erythropoietin, a hormone which causes marrow to increase production. Our bodies churn out roughly 2.5 million red blood cells per second, a number equivalent to the entire population of Paris, so that oxygen that makes it to the lungs will have ample transportation. But before oxygen can even reach the lungs, the brain needs to get involved. The brainstem initiates breathing by sending a message through your nervous system, all the way to muscles of the diaphragm and ribs. This causes them to contract, thus increasing the space inside the ribcage, which allows the lungs to expand. That expansion drops your lungs' internal air pressure, making air rush in. It's tempting to think of our lungs as two big balloons, but they're actually a lot more complicated than that. Here's why. The red blood cells in the vessels within your lungs can only pick up oxygen molecules that are very close to them. If our lungs were shaped like balloons, air that was not in direct contact with the balloon's inner surface couldn't diffuse through. Luckily, our lungs' architecture ensures that very little oxygen is wasted. Their interior is divided into hundreds of millions of miniature balloon-like projections called alveoli that dramatically increase the contact area to somewhere around 100 square meters. The alveolar walls are made of extremely thin, flat cells that are surrounded by capillaries. Together, the alveolar wall and capillaries make a 2-cell thick membrane that brings blood and oxygen close enough for diffusion. These oxygen-enriched cells are then carried from the lungs through the cardiovascular network, a massive collection of blood vessels that reaches every cell in the body. If we laid this system out end to end in a straight line, the vessels would wrap around the Earth several times. Propelling red blood cells through this extensive network requires a pretty powerful pump, and that's where your heart comes in. The human heart pumps an average of about 100,000 times per day, and it's the powerhouse that ultimately gets oxygen where it needs to go, completing the body's team effort. Just think, this entire complex system is built around the delivery of tiny molecules of oxygen. If just one part malfunctioned, so would we. Breathe in. Your gut, brain, bones, lungs, blood, and heart are continuing their incredible act of coordination that keeps you alive. Breathe out.
Luckily for us, this isn't something we have to think about, eh? You might forget to breathe properly. So our bodies, again, are these incredibly intelligent, just amazing machines that were designed to function, knowing what to do. And oftentimes we think that we are smarter than the manufacturer of our bodies, and we try to fix things or, do things, that actually really don't solve the problem. And so good, clean air breathing in and out is a very, very important part of maintaining overall health. And there is a right way and there is a wrong way to breathe. You'd be surprised. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, make way for our sponsors, and then on the other side of the break, you're going to learn a little bit more about the correct way to breathe. I know you like the correct way to breathe. You breathe in, you breathe out. What's there to think about? Well, you'd be surprised. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to look at the third point in the square of health. You're watching GPS or listening to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Stay with us.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Lasted love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
And welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM on this Wellness Wednesday. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. Today we're talking about the square of health. You know, nutrition can be very complex. It's a complex subject that can seem overwhelming to some people, but it is so fundamentally important. And understanding these 4 points um, uh, really help to, it has to be covered if you're going to be healthy. You can't get around these 4 points of the square of health if you're going to be healthy, in other words. So we're going to try to make this as simple as possible in our presentation today. Love to hear from you. The telephone numbers to call 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, or our WhatsApp line is 824-9952, 824-9952 if you have a question as it relates to what we're discussing today. So we said that in order to remember the 4 points of the square of health, just think of Norm. You know, the guy next door, Norm. Nutriate, oxygenate, move, and rest. So prior to the break, we gave you some great information about the importance of oxygen and the role that it plays in the body. But did you know that if you suffer from an upset stomach or insomnia or anxiety, it may be because you've been breathing wrong? Who knew? Psychologist and author of Breathe, Dr. Belisa Vranich, explains how we came to learn to breathe the wrong way and why breathing correctly is something that we all need to learn.
Take a deep breath. If you feel like you're going up and getting a little bit taller, you're breathing so wrong. Breathing wrong is when you use your neck and shoulders to pick up your thoracic cavity. So do this now. Take a deep breath and watch. If you feel like you're going up and getting a little bit taller, and then you come down and settle down on your exhale, that's actually a dysfunctional breath. At 5 and under, I've found that most kids breathe perfectly. So a number of things happen so that when you ask a 10-year-old to breathe, they start breathing with that upper body breath that's actually anatomically incongruous and leads to us being in fight and flight, more anxious, having neck and shoulder pain, not being able to sleep, and having digestive problems. So how did we get there? Number one is that child starts sitting a lot. They start going to school. We sit way too much, 13 to 16 hours a day. Number two is injuries. If you're a little kid and all of a sudden you start skateboarding or skiing, anything that hurts the middle of your body, you immediately stop inhaling and expanding because it hurts. And your breath goes all the way up here to be an upper body or a vertical breath. You start wearing waistbands, bra straps, compression garments. You start sucking in your gut, and all of a sudden that breath that was perfect before you were 5 turns into a dysfunctional one as an adult, and it stays there until you fix it right now. A good breath, a breath that's anatomically congruous, it goes with the rest of your body, is that you inhale and you expand your body. Neck and shoulders don't move. You expand all the way around, 360 degrees. You come forwards a little bit, your sides open up, and even your back opens up. And if you want to see what this looks like, look at your dog, your cat, your fish, any animal on the planet except for us, and you'll see them breathe perfectly, 360 degrees all the way around, expanding on the inhale and contracting, wringing out, getting narrower on the exhale. No neck and shoulder movement.
Who knew? Yeah, so it does take some practice, I think, because we have learned it the wrong way. So the thing is that you can actually, there are many breathing exercises out there. You can Google breathing exercises that will teach you how to breathe properly, how to take deeper breaths, all that kind of stuff, because we now know that oxygen is extremely important to your body. And so we want to make sure that we're getting sufficient oxygen into the lungs, and that breathing properly certainly helps along those lines. So that's the first two corners of the square of health. You've got nutriate And we have covered in detail over the past several weeks all of the nutrition that the body needs and why it's so important that you nutriate or nutrify your body so that your body can begin to function in the way that it was designed to function. And let me just stick a pin in that right there. I want you to understand this. If you're going through some kind of medical challenge, I tell people all the time, believe the diagnosis. Don't ignore it. Don't pretend you don't have it. Face it. But don't believe the prognosis. Don't believe that that there's nothing more that you can do. And your body is so intelligent. I don't care how far gone you are. If you do what you need to do and give your body what it needs, your body is intelligent. It knows what to do to fix itself. Believe that. Okay? Because a lot of people are walking around hopeless, thinking, oh, well, they say there's nothing more that could be done for me. Well, maybe if you give your body what it needs and get out of the way, your body could spring back. It's amazing. It knows what to do. It's trying to do it. It wants to do it. But we need to give it the support that it needs and get out of the way. I just had to stick that pin in there right there to give somebody out there hope who's listening to the show who may be going through some kind of medical challenge and thinking that there's nothing that can be done for you. That's not exactly true. If you give your body what it needs, your body knows what to do to fix itself. So the first two corners of the square, nutriate your body. Very important that we do that with the right type of nutrition, plant-derived nutrition, and making sure that you get it in adequate amounts. Because I see a lot of people say, oh, well, I take this. Well, how do you know? The thing with, I honestly believe in herbal medication and bush medicine, we call it. I absolutely believe in the power of bush medicine. The challenge is quantities. How do you know that you're getting sufficient or too much of that particular thing? So this is why it's important that you get adequate amounts of nutrition in measured amounts so that you know exactly what you're getting. So you're not getting fractionated nutrition. In other words, oh, I take this and I take that, or I'm taking this particular herb and that herb is good and giving you certain amounts of nutrition, or that particular product is giving you certain amounts of nutrition, but it's not giving you everything that you need. So it's only a fraction of what you need, and that is what we call fractionated nutrition. Okay, so that's why it's important that you hook up with a product that gives you exactly how much you're getting in that. You know exactly how much you need to be taking based on your body weight, because body weight is important when it comes to nutrition. A child who only weighs 50 pounds does not need as much of a particular thing as somebody who weighs 250 pounds. So all of these factors have to be considered when you are talking about taking nutrition and how much nutrition you should be taking. Okay, so we dealt with the first two, which are nutriate and oxygenate. Now, the third point of the square of health is norm. Remember, nutriate, oxygenate. Now we have to talk about rest and relaxation. And this is a big one because a lot of people are so stressed out with life, just trying to keep up with life, that rest and relaxation are the last thing on their minds. They're just trying to keep up with everything that they have going on in their lives. We live very busy, very crazy, very hectic, very stressful lives. And so for a lot of people, rest and relaxation is pretty much non-existent. But as you will hear from Ben Fuchs in this particular clip, I got it, Jason, it is extremely important to overall health.
Third point is rest, relaxation. The body heals when it's in relaxation mode. The two great streams of energy, the two great streams of neural energy, of nervous system energy, shunt into emergency mode or relaxation mode. When we're shunting energy into emergency mode, it helps us survive, it helps us get out of a pickle, but it doesn't help us heal, it doesn't help us regenerate, it doesn't help us anti-age, it doesn't help us build muscle, it doesn't help us fight wrinkles, it doesn't help us do any of the things that are fun about being alive. On the other hand, eating and sleeping and sex and creativity and fertility, all of these are regulated by the relaxation rest nervous system. This is one of the reasons why you want to relax before you eat, by the way. This is one of the reasons why traditionally religions have always said grace before meals. When you say grace before your meals, you're activating your relaxation nervous system. Gratitude is one of the best ways to activate the relaxation nervous system, and you'll digest your food more effectively. We have an epidemic of infertility in this country. Something like 25 to 30% of couples are infertile. That's crazy. It's a huge amount. And a lot of people, when they're infertile, the first thing they'll do is they'll go to the doctor and try to get hormones to try to make themselves fertile. Well, under conditions of stress, under conditions of survival, your body's not going to let you make a baby. And that can be survival or stress chemistry that's related to disease, or it can be survival and stress chemistry that's related to credit card bills or related to just the livingness of life. So before you're trying to make a baby, another great time to make sure you relax your body. Before hot tubs, hot baths, hot water, massage, all of these are great ways to relax the body, to activate fertility, to activate creativity, to activate the digestive system, or help your body digest food. You ever notice how you get great ideas in the shower?
Right.
Does that ever happen to you? Right?
Yeah.
All the time. Great ideas in the shower, right? Why? Because in the shower, especially if it's a hot shower, you activate the relaxation nervous system, and that improves blood supply to the front of your brain, to the prefrontal cortex, the creativity part of your brain. When you're under stress, the blood gets redirected to the back part of your brain. We don't do our best work when we're in fear, when we're scared, when we're under stress, which is why you want to always, always, always be careful of listening to radio shows or the news or reading newspaper articles that make you scared, that activate fear, because you don't do your best work. You're not at your most creative. You don't do your best thinking when you're in fear mode. So making sure you do everything you can do to relax the body, to rest the body. And this is kind of counterintuitive, or it's not something that we get encouraged to do in our culture. We get encouraged to work in our culture. We don't get encouraged to rest. In fact, we're considered lazy if we rest. So the next time you're sitting on the couch doing nothing, just think of it like you're taking your medicine. Just think of it like you're growing your muscles. Just think of it like you're preventing wrinkles from forming and building more collagen and building more bone and repairing from wounds, etc. So making sure you rest. That's the third point on the fourfold square of health.
And let me tell you something. If you don't get sufficient rest, your body will eventually make you rest. In other words, you're going to come down with something that's going to put you on your back in your bed. So you really, really need to make sure that you are getting adequate amounts of rest. Because if not, you are opening the door to problems for your health. And inadequate amounts of rest is a major, major problem. And, I get it. Life is, especially, we got a lot of single parent homes and, people trying to make ends meet, and the cost of living is ridiculous, and the price of everything is going up, and your salary ain't matching. And I get it, and some people working, those who could find them 2 jobs, other people out there looking for work. And there's a lot of stress and a lot of things that are happening that are causing you not to be able to rest. But you have to make a conscious decision that you are going to prioritize your health, and included in that prioritization is you're going to find some time to rest yourself. Because I tell people all the time, if you don't make yourself a priority, you don't make your health a priority, you're so busy doing everything for your family and your children and your husband and this and your parents and this and the next one. So when you break down, who can do them things for them? Who can take care of your children when your body breaks down? So you got to take care of yourself. You have to make yourself a priority, particularly if you are busy taking care of everybody else. More reason why you need to take care of yourself, because once you out sick, then how are they going to manage without all the things that you're doing for them? So you have to take care of yourself. And a major part of that is rest. And I will tell you, like I said, if you don't rest your body say, okay, then I see what time it is. I can sit you down since you since you don't want to take responsibility and arrest me. Okay, we can see who in charge of this right now. um, so people, I cannot stress this enough. And I especially when I was much younger, as you all know, my background, I am a former broadcast journalist. So I worked in news for many, many years. And let me tell you, boy, working in news, I don't know what it's like now, but back then, um, your phone could ring at 3 o'clock in the morning and you'd have to get up out of your bed to go cover, some murder or whatever. It was a regular thing to not get home until the wee hours of the morning, because the training that we had back then, I don't know if it's the same now. I don't think it is, but the training we had back then is there's no such thing as I'm off. You off when the story finished. So whatever that means, if it means that you're covering, say, a political conference or political, what you call them things, when the political parties have their, what you call it, convention, right? Or rallies, but more so a convention. Let's say you covering a political convention. I funny story. I remember years ago. This is under when Prime Minister was Hubert Ingram, and we were covering the Free National Movement convention, and it was the last night of the convention. And typically speaking, the last night is when they have a bunch of parties and all this kind of stuff, right? But for us who work in as journalists, we ain't going to no party. We got to make sure we got to go back and do our work so that you, the audience, could have that report on the news the first thing the next morning. So while everybody else partying, we writing stories, we pulling sound bites, we editing, we working till the wee hours in the morning. So I remember this one particular convention, the Prime Minister's aide came into the room where we were at the hotel, because we had rented a room so that we could like set up a studio, an editing suite there, so we wouldn't have to. We did everything there at the hotel. And so the Prime Minister's aide comes in and he says, Ms. Malcolm, the Prime Minister would like you and your crew to join him. That they were having a party in his suite. So I said, please tell the Prime Minister thank you so much, but we really can't, because we have to get our stories out for in the morning. So he says, Ms. Malcolm, the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, has asked that you and your team come. I said, okay, I understand now. This isn't an invitation, this is a summons. So my team and I, we had to stop doing what we were doing. and we had to go to the Prime Minister's room. But boy, look here, don't trust the maids here. When we get in the room, the Prime Minister said, Ms. Malcolm, I understand you said this isn't an invitation, this is a summons. I look at that aide, I say, well, mother sickness to tell the Prime Minister what I say. But the point was that once we left that party, because we had to go, because the Prime Minister said we had to come, we had to go back to work. And we didn't finish. We wouldn't typically finish until 3-4 o'clock in the morning. So as journalists, especially, like I said, I don't know if it's the same now as it was back then, but there are certain professions, journalists, say maybe the medical professionals, there are certain professions that by virtue of what you do, you are sleep deprived. And I know back in the day, oh man, I was so, there was sometimes I literally fell asleep at the wheel driving home. It was that bad, sleep deprived, because you go in all the time. There's no such thing as I off. What do you mean you off? Your story ain't finished. You off when the story done, And one of the most dangerous things you can do is not get sufficient sleep. Because sleep is extremely important to regenerate your body. Remember, we said disease is nothing more than degeneration of the body. Well, a major part of the importance of sleep is it's when your body regenerates. It's what your body, it's a major part of that whole process of you rebuilding and regenerating what you would have lost throughout the day. So if you're not getting sufficient sleep, you are circumventing that process. And on the other side of this break, we are going to look more closely at that in terms of what you actually are doing to your body when you are not giving it sufficient rest and relaxation. Your body will break down, and eventually it's going to force you to stop if you don't stop yourself. So I would prefer to make the decision up front to rest as opposed to my body making the decision for me, because you ain't gonna like it if your body makes a decision for you. It's not gonna be a good experience. So on the other side of this break, we're gonna look at what happens when you don't get sufficient rest and relaxation. You're gonna be, yeah, this is serious, y'all. This is serious. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. You're watching or listening to GPS on Global 99.5 FM. Stay with us.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here in your company today on this Wellness Wednesday. We are talking about the square of health, the 4 points of the square of health that will help to keep you in your best optimal shape if you pay attention to these 4 areas. So the numbers to call, 326-0271, 326-0271. One more time, 326-0271. And the second number is 326-0272, 326-0272, 326-0272. And the WhatsApp number to send us a message if you'd like to, not to call, but to message us, is 824-9952, 824-9952. So we're talking about the square of health, in case you joined us late. And that square, we said that in order to remember the 4 points of the square, just think of the guy norm. So N is nutriate, O is oxygenate, R is rest and relaxation. And you would have heard prior to the clip, prior to the break, Ben Fuchs talking about the importance of rest and relaxation to the body, extremely important. It is estimated that 30% of adults and 66% of adolescents are regularly sleep deprived. And this isn't just a minor inconvenience. You may think, oh, you lose a couple hours sleep here or there. Trust me, that's not a good thing. Staying awake, not getting sufficient sleep can cause serious bodily harm. Claudia Aguirre shows, let me know if that's a call for the show before we go on to the clip. Claudia Aguirre in this clip shows what happens to your body and brain when you skip sleep. No? Okay. And this particular, for those of you watching on Facebook, this particular video is animated by Ted Ed. So here we go. This is what happens to your body when you don't get sufficient sleep.
In 1965, 17-year-old high school student Randy Garner stayed awake for 264 hours. That's 11 days to see how he'd cope without sleep. On the second day, his eyes stopped focusing. Next, he lost the ability to identify objects by touch. By day 3, Garner was moody and uncoordinated. At the end of the experiment, he was struggling to concentrate, had trouble with short-term memory, became paranoid, and started hallucinating. Although Garner recovered without long-term psychological or physical damage, for others, losing shut-eye can result in hormonal imbalance, illness, and in extreme cases, death. We're only beginning to understand why we sleep to begin with, but we do know it's essential. Adults need 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, and adolescents need about 10. We grow sleepy due to signals from our body telling our brain we are tired, and signals from the environment telling us it's dark outside. The rise in sleep-inducing chemicals like adenosine and melatonin send us into a light doze that grows deeper, making our breathing and heart rate slow down and our muscles relax. This non-REM sleep is when DNA is repaired and our bodies replenish themselves for the day ahead. In the United States, it's estimated that 30% of adults and 66% of adolescents are regularly sleep deprived. This isn't just a minor inconvenience. Staying awake can cause serious bodily harm. When we lose sleep, learning, memory, mood, and reaction time are affected. Sleeplessness may also cause inflammation, hallucinations, high blood pressure, and it's even been linked to diabetes and obesity. In 2014, a devoted soccer fan died after staying awake for 48 hours to watch the World Cup. While his untimely death was due to a stroke, studies show that chronically sleeping fewer than 6 hours a night increases stroke risk by 4.5 times compared to those getting a consistent 7 to 8 hours of shut-eye. For a handful of people on the planet who carry a rare inherited genetic mutation, sleeplessness is a daily reality. This condition, known as fatal familial insomnia, places the body in a nightmarish state of wakefulness, forbidding it from entering the sanctuary of sleep. Within months or years, this progressively worsening condition leads to dementia and death. how can sleep deprivation cause such immense suffering? Scientists think the answer lies with the accumulation of waste products in the brain. During our waking hours, our cells are busy using up our day's energy sources, which get broken down into various byproducts, including adenosine. As adenosine builds up, it increases the urge to sleep, also known as sleep pressure. In fact, caffeine works by blocking adenosine's receptor pathways. Other waste products also build up in the brain, and if they're not cleared away, they collectively overload the brain and are thought to lead to the many negative symptoms of sleep deprivation. So, what's happening in our brain when we sleep to prevent this? Scientists found something called the glymphatic system, a cleanup mechanism that removes this buildup and is much more active when we're asleep. It works by using cerebrospinal fluid to flush away toxic byproducts that accumulate between cells. Lymphatic vessels, which serve as pathways for immune cells, have recently been discovered in the brain, and they may also play a role in clearing out the brain's daily waste products. While scientists continue exploring the restorative mechanisms behind sleep, we can be sure that slipping into slumber is a necessity if we want to maintain our health and our sanity.
So important to make sure that you are getting adequate sleep. And that now we understand more from a scientific perspective why that is so. Babies sleep a lot more than adults, and that's because they have a lot more melatonin. And sleep is when we regenerate, when we grow, so that's why babies sleep so much more than adults. But you have to make sure that you are getting adequate sleep. Otherwise, you could be causing yourself some bodily harm. It's not just a matter of, oh, I'll catch up on it tomorrow or next week or whatever. You are literally harming your body when you're not getting sufficient sleep. Is that a call for the show? We have a call on the show. Welcome to GPS. Hello, caller.
Hello. Good afternoon, Michelle. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm okay. I hope you're getting enough sleep.
Pardon me?
I hope you're getting enough sleep.
Most of the times.
What do you call most of the time? What are the hours like?
No, I don't get 7 to 8 hours a night.
You get 4 hours, then you wake up, then you go back for the next 3?
One of my challenges is if I do, like, if for whatever reason, I'm typically a night owl. But for whatever reason, if I go to bed very late and somebody calls me and wakes me up early in the morning, I cannot get back to sleep once I am up. That's what.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, but you realize what that is, though.
Something wrong with that if
No. Get it like this, Michelle. See, I look at it like this. Every time I get up in the night, if I get up in the night, I find that when you fight yourself, when you get up in the night, you fighting to go to sleep, right? Your focus is to go to sleep, right? Don't ever focus on that. Because when you focus on that, you're going to be up all night fighting to go to sleep, right? That's your brightest moment when you get up in that kind of time. There's the times you're supposed to get your ideas together and whatever. And guess what? When you manifest certain ideas and whatever, then you can go to sleep. You can sleep, okay? And I treat it every night the same way. If I get up like that, I never fight myself because of the reason why I get up. Probably go to the bathroom, probably go to cough or do something, but get up. Because when you go against yourself and you're fighting yourself to go to sleep, you're fighting within your own, you're fighting yourself. And when you get up in the morning, you be so beat because you're trying to fight yourself to go to sleep. That kind of way. But Michelle, you know what? If the key to life is balance, right? Right? Hello?
I'm listening.
Okay. If the key to life is balance, right? Now, why is it that, like, when it comes to sleep, they say you have to sleep for 8 hours and then you wake for 16 hours. That sounds like slave master wakes, you know. Because guess what? As a baby, as in babies and as in every day, there's 12 hours light and 12 hours darkness, right? And you know what? Since man invented the light bulb a little before, right? Man wanted to venture into the dark and have it like day. But the reality is that as with when you see the sunset and sunrise, that's when you're supposed to sleep and wake, or it may be flipped, okay? Or we choose any 12 hours is what we're supposed to be sleeping. We're deprived because for the 16 hours, what we're supposed to be doing? Slavery, then go to sleep and wake up and do more slavery. You can't live like that because it ain't balanced. They tell us what to do, but it ain't the right way. Hello?
I listening. I trying to figure out where you're going, but I
No,
listen.
no, Michelle, listen, it's balanced. If it's 24 hours in a day, how is it that, well, we need 8 hours sleep and we got to drink eight glasses of water and our blood pressure must be this? If the tide rises and falls, sometimes it's spring tide. So when it comes, hello?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
When it comes down to our bodies, right? Our bodies ain't no different from would be experienced like in this world, you know.
Our
Because
bodies are
everything
no
is
different
about
from what?
equilibrium. Would be experienced like the rain and everything. It came down for a reason, right? Okay, like for the hurricanes, so like when we sneeze, a hurricane, when we get like a certain like say well chest like colds or whatever, and we coughing or whatever, it came to a storm. Okay, like and everything is in this life has to do certain things to live and survive, and we ain't no different. You know, so we can't because we say we human, we going by a book what men write. Sometimes I remember myself, all they did was give me fairy tales and lies as a child. And now, as an adult, they even tell us what to eat as children. Now they tell us, oh, eat this and eat that. Give me a break. Huh?
What are you suggesting in terms of how much sleep we should or should not be getting? What are you suggesting?
We human beings, we're supposed to be getting 8 hours. Not 8 hours, but 12 hours of sleep. Okay? 12 hours of sleep, 12 hours of wake. And you know what? If we live our lives in a balanced way, we'll even live longer. Trust me, yeah? Because you know what? You mentioned a baby can sleep, an adult can't sleep. You know why adult can't sleep? Because everyone calling that adult, and that adult mild already poisoned by other people. Get up, go do this. Oh, my girlfriend calling her. Where she is, where this one is. What happened to this one? What happened? Child don't think like that.
Well, the
We
child,
need to free our mind sometimes. When we want to escape into, when we want to escape.
Hold on. The child has more melatonin in their system, which
I can tell you what
causes them to sleep more. They need to sleep more. They're building more. They're regenerating more.
Hey, Michelle, and as an adult, right? I know what melatonin is, and I can get it naturally. Right, I'm not talking synthesized through plants, okay? Mm-hmm. But they don't tell us what we're supposed to be doing in life. And they tell us drink milk, bones, make your bones strong. And I've been drinking milk as a kid, and all I wanted was drink milk because they tell me drink milk, right? I even eat no food, right? Till I get to be a teenager, milk ain't doing nothing but blocking you up. Give me a break. You know, I mean, come on, man.
All right, caller. Thanks so much for calling. Thanks for giving your opinion. I don't necessarily agree with your opinion. 12 hours. I could not sleep for 12 hours if I tried a night. I just can't. After a while, if you go to sleep, you do not have the distractions of the phone and all this other kind of stuff you're talking about. Your body knows how long to sleep, and you'll just naturally wake up after a certain amount of time. And it ain't 12 hours. But anyway, there are a couple of things that we need to be aware of that can disrupt your sleep patterns. That you really need to pay attention to this. And oftentimes when I'm doing a consultation with a client and they say, I have a hard time sleeping through the night, one of the first things I ask them is, are you charging your cell phone overnight in the same room you're trying to sleep? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes. Well, there's a problem with that. Because when you are charging your cell phone, it is emitting very, very high levels of radiation that disrupts sleep patterns. There was actually an experiment done a couple of years ago by these high school kids, because they all this group of friends, they all found that they were having a hard time sleeping through the night. They just couldn't sleep, and they decided to do an experiment because they were all on their phone late at night, charging their phone on the stand next to the bed, and they were all having sleep problems. So they decided to do an experiment where they got 2 identical plants, put one in a room where they were charging the cell phone and one in a room where they were not. Apart from that, everything else that they exposed those plants to were identical. Same amount of sunlight, same amount of water, same amount of everything. The only difference was with one, they would charge the cell phone overnight in the same room where they were keeping the plant. The plant that was not exposed to the cell phone it thrived. The plant that was being exposed to the cell phone died within days. And so these kids figured out that there was something in the action of charging their cell phone that was interrupting their sleep. What turns out it's the high levels of radiation that are coming from that phone as it's being charged. So if you are charging your cell phone in the same room overnight you're trying to sleep in, you will not be able to have a good night's rest. And I often advise my clients, charge your phone in another room. Do not charge your cell phone overnight in the same room where you're trying to sleep. Not even further away from yourself in the same room. Put it in another room. Okay? That's the first thing. Another thing that you're probably doing that could be disrupting your sleep pattern is and you would have heard in the clip that we played, him talking about the signals that your body uses to know when it's time to go to sleep. So if your body sees that the sun has gone down, it's dark outside, it's telling you, okay, that means it's sleepy time. Well, a challenge that we have is that even though the sun has gone down, we are still being exposed to blue light. And blue light it sends a signal to the brain to say it's daytime. How are we being exposed to blue light when the sun has gone down? Through our cell phones. If you on your cell phone at night, chatting, with your friend or whatever, checking out video, whatever, checking your email, whatever, that cell phone is giving off blue light. Now, to your naked eye, you may say, well, I see no blue light, but trust me, your brain is picking that up as blue light. Same thing with your laptop or your computer. If you are on a laptop or computer late at night, that is giving off what is called blue light. And so it's sending a signal to your brain that it's still daytime, even though the sun is down outside. You are still being exposed to blue light. And so if you are like me, I spend a lot of time on my phone and a lot of time on my laptop, a lot, like too much time. I really like the app on my phone that tells you how much screen time you've had in a week. And by the end of the week, when I see how much screen time I've been on my phone, I say, oh my God, there's a job. I spend less time on a job than I spend looking at this doggone phone. So it really, it's a good thing to help you cut back. But that blue light is sending a signal to your brain. And so if you are at night working on your laptop or, on YouTube or emails or whatever it is, and you shut that down and you try to go to sleep right away, it's going to take a while for your brain to realize it's not day because of that exposure to that blue light. So ideally, you should give yourself about 30 minutes in between when you are working on your laptop or your phone and when you're trying to go to sleep. So if you want to be asleep by 10, shut everything down by 9:30 to give your brain time to figure out that it's nighttime. And nighttime, like I said, like you would have heard in the clip, it sends a signal to your brain that it's sleepy time. Okay. There are certain things that can help you sleep naturally. So that, because a lot of those sleep aids, pharmaceuticals are addictive. And so if you keep taking them, you find yourself hooked on a drug. So you want to be careful of that. But there are some natural products, like some products that contain CBD oil, for instance, can help you to sleep better. And there are certain techniques that you can use that will help you better sleep. One of them is, it has to do with breathing. Okay, let me go back to that oxygenate. But if you, when it's time to go to sleep, you typically would, lie down. So, or put your head back if you're sitting up. You rest your head on something. So if you want to calm your body down to get to the point where you trick your body into thinking it's sleepy time, just tilt your head back and breathe deeply. Close your eyes and breathe deeply and tilt your head back. And that sends a signal to your body, must be sleepy time. Okay. But there are certain things, like I said, that cell phone, charging that cell phone, staying up on your devices too late, that will keep you up. There are other things that will interrupt your sleep patterns as well. If you're being exposed to certain toxins like mold, for instance, you will not be able to sleep through the night. You're going to have a hard time sleeping through the night. So all of these things you need to be aware of when you're talking about, you know, giving yourself the best chance to have a very good night's sleep. You want to try to shut down the devices or put them on sleep mode, so that even, you know, if you put your cell phone in another room, for instance, and it's not far away enough, you will still hear that bang bang bang. And some people, you know, their phone never stops. I don't understand. People must be sending you a message 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, why are you sending me? Why is my phone pinging it? Why are you sending me a message 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning? Like that message can't wait till after 9. But people do these things. So put it on silent mode, or sleep mode, or whatever you call it, so that even though people sending you these messages 5 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning, it's not interrupting your sleep, because it's, you know, bang, 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 bang all night. So little tricks like that. And if you're really having a hard time, see if you can find some melatonin, natural melatonin. Very, very good product for helping you to sleep. It's something that your body makes naturally. The older you get, though, the less your body makes. So if you're having a hard time sleeping, you might want to try to get your hands on some melatonin, which is, you know, again, natural melatonin will, you know, help your body to sleep. And try to not expose yourself to things late at night or just before you go to bed that are upsetting or causing, you know, stress or fear or worry, anything like that. Try to expose yourself to things that are more relaxing. And all of this will help you to improve your sleep. But I will tell you from experience, like I said, when I was a young reporter, oh man, we all were notorious for being sleep deprived. And funny story. Well, it wasn't funny falling asleep behind the wheel. I thank God for His grace, because I remember one time driving home, so tired, so sleepy, and there were about 6 cars in front of me, stopped to a red light. So thank God my foot was on the brake. And I guess for that one moment stopping, my body said, she finally stopped. Let's go, sleep. And I fell asleep. And it wasn't until someone behind me started blowing their horn. And when I woke up, all of those cars that had been in front of me were long gone. And all I could do is thank God that I wasn't that my foot was on the brake when that happened. But funny story, I do remember one time during those crazy days of not getting enough sleep. A couple of things. I remember one time I was so tired by the time I got home. I just said, let me just lay across the bed for a minute. Wholesale. I didn't take off my shoes. When I woke up the next morning, I was still laying in that position with my shoes on. That's how tired I was. Your body will just, when you finally stop, your body's like, oh, thank God. And it goes. Another time, I actually, made it home, took a shower, turned on my TV, sat down. At that time, I used to put rollers in my hair because my hair was relaxed at the time. So turned on my TV, sat down. I said, let me watch TV while I put rollers in my hair. So I've got the basket of the rollers next to me. And I remember putting my hand in the basket to pull out the rollers. When I woke up the next morning, I was still sitting up. Cartoons were on the TV. So, that made, because cartoons come on early in the morning. And my hand was still in the basket. that's how tired I was. And my brain was like, that's it, shut down. So you really need to I say that to say, you really need to make sure that you're getting adequate sleep, because as we saw in those clips that played, the clip that played, it will harm you physically if you don't get sufficient rest and relaxation. Sometimes you just gotta shut it down. Like over this holiday weekend, I just shut it down. I don't want nobody sending me no bunch of news things. Listen, I off. And sometimes you just have to tell people, because they're constantly sending you stuff. And sometimes you just got to take a break, man. You know, at some points I just say, okay, that's it. I'm off. I will go look for a comedy to watch so I could laugh. And, you know, because laughter is good for the soul. Very, very good for your health. And people still sending you stuff, and you be like, okay, listen, not right now. I really don't want to deal with this right now, because I just trying to decompress, and they don't stop. Sometimes you just have to shut that down, because your health has to be your priority. You can't solve the world's problems by yourself. So I'm sending you all these things that could wait. You need to find ways to relax yourself, whether that is closing your eyes and listening to soft music, or listening, just, you know, finding a good comedy to laugh. Find ways to relax yourself, because if you do not, you will pay for it with your health. That's how important rest and relaxation is to this discussion. There is no health if you burn yourself out. I caught COVID the other day, and quite frankly, I think I caught it because two things. Number one, I was not getting sufficient sleep for varying reasons. I was only getting like 4 hours sleep a night. And number two, I ran out of my nutrients and wasn't nutrifying my body. I was, you know, some of the stuff I normally take was on back order, and I ran out of nutrients, and I was not taking my nutrients for about a good week and a half, 2 weeks. So I think my immune system was weakened, because when you don't get sufficient rest, you weaken your immune system. And that opened the door for me, I think, to be able to catch COVID. Now, you know, it was mild. You know, even though my immune system, I think, was weakened, I have done a pretty good job of taking care of myself with nutrients, etc. So, you know, with this variant of COVID, my immune system was able to deal with it. But I think that's why I got COVID, because I was running myself ragged, not getting sufficient sleep, not nutrifying my body, and that weakened my immune system a bit, I do believe. So, Norm, nutriate, oxygenate, rest, and relaxation. Now, the final peg in the square is move. You gotta move. And we're going to talk more about that on the other side of this break. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria. and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on this Wellness Wednesday. We're talking about the square of health, the 4 points of the square of health, specifically nutriate, oxygenate, rest and relaxation, and move. Our telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, or 3260272, 3260272. And our WhatsApp line is 824-9952, 824-9952. Now, before we dive back in, I just want to remind you to check out Sunshine Auto. Sonny and his team there, great products if you're looking to fix up that ride of yours. Like the little girl says in the commercial, the hottest place on the planet for rim tints and tires. So definitely check them out on Abundant Life Road. And Tiki Bikini Hut, one of my favorite places on the planet, where you can get some really good food, great atmosphere, and a family-friendly environment. They have live entertainment. Mondays, you can hear King David on the steel pan, and then you've got 3S Harmony in the evenings. You've got live DJ. You've got the Eminem Band daily. So definitely go and check them out. Enjoy the free live entertainment as you enjoy some fabulous food and some tropical drinks right on the beach. And you know what? I decided to try another one of their dishes the other day I was there. I tried their Mediterranean salad, and I still trying to find something on their menu I don't like. So far, everything has been pretty good so far. Obviously, I'm limited to what I eat because of my my gluten-free thing. So there's quite a bit on their menu that I have not tried because it contains gluten. But everything that I've tried so far, I have to give kudos to Byron and his chef. Yeah, y'all got it going on. Y'all know what y'all doing up in that place. So I ain't come across nothing yet. What has not been absolutely scrumptious. So go and check out Tiki Bikini Hut on Junkanoo Beach. The telephone number to call, 803-4657, 803-4657. 803-4565, 803-4565, or 801-0213, 801-0213. All right? Okay, so let's get back to the square of health. How do we give ourselves a fighting chance when it comes to making sure that we keep ourselves good and healthy? So the final peg on the square of health is M for move. Yeah, we can't get around this one. It's very important that we move.
And then the last point is move. And just as important as it is to rest, it's equally important to move, to exercise, to provide the body with some kind of resistance that it has to work against. Now, important point here is you don't want too much resistance. And just like we talked about earlier, how you want your micronutrients balanced out with your macronutrients, you want your, and by the way, you want your carbon dioxide, your exhale, balanced out with your inhale. And I didn't mention that with our second point. You want your oxygenation, the breathing in, to be balanced out with the exhaling of carbon dioxide. When you exhale, you're actually blowing off not just carbon dioxide, but you're blowing off acids, you're blowing off waste material. So it's actually a great way to detoxify. So you've got a balance with nutrition. You got your micronutrient, macronutrient balance. You've got a balance with oxygenation. You've got exhaling versus inhaling. And oh, by the way, the relaxation response is linked to exhalation, not inhalation. So we actually activate relaxation when we're going like this. Ah. It's kind of like when you're surprised. When somebody jumps out at you, you go like this. Like that, right? That activates the stress response. That's oxygenation, breathing in. And then what do you do when you find out it's all a big joke? You go, ah. That activates the relaxation response. In fact, just going like that, just going, ah, just sighing is a great way to activate the relaxation response. So you got the second balance is oxygenation versus blowing off carbon dioxide, or inhalation versus exhalation. And then you got your third balance, rest versus movement. Rest is key. That's when the body recovers. That's when the body anti-ages. That's when the body heals. But by the same token, movement and resistance is also important. A small amount of stress. Remember Nietzsche, back in the 1900s or the 1800s, he said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. He was talking about weightlifting. He was talking about exercise. He was talking about resistance training. And it's not just resistance training for your muscles. It's resistance training for your mind. It's resistance training for your emotions. Anytime we have challenges, we grow. In terms of the body, the movement improves circulation. And not just blood circulation, but lymphatic circulation. They're both important. Blood circulation improves nutrition, or nourishment to cells. Blood circulation also helps drain away toxins from the cells. Of course, blood circulation improves oxygen delivery to cells. But movement also is important for the lymphatic system, which is your waste management system. Disease is usually preceded by a stagnation or a coagulation or a clotting, not just of the blood system, but also of the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system, unlike the blood, doesn't have a pump. You know, the blood has a pump. That's the heart. The lymphatic system doesn't have its own pump. It depends on muscular movement for its pumping action, to improve its movement. So moving the circulatory system by moving the lymphatic circulatory system by getting on a rebounder, by hanging upside down, on an inversion device, by doing exercise, any kind of movement is going to improve lymphatic circulation. And one very important point that doesn't get addressed a lot when you talk about circulation is the blood, and to a certain extent the lymph, as these fluids are moving through the body, they're generating an electrical charge. So they're not just delivering nutrients and delivering oxygen and eliminating waste, but they're also amplifying or charging up the body. The body, at the end of the day, is not just a chemical system, it's an electrical system. In fact, it's an electrical system even more fundamentally than it is a chemical system. And as your circulation is moving, both your blood and mostly your blood, but probably to a certain extent your lymph, it's actually generating a charge. Physicists call it a zeta potential. And this zeta potential is one of the ways that cells get energized. They get energized via the electrical energy that is being revved up by the movement of blood. So when you have clogging, sticky blood, which precedes disease, not only are you having poor nutrient delivery and poor oxygen delivery and poor detoxification, but you're also slowing down the electrical energy. You're reducing the zeta potential of the blood. This can be reversed by making sure you're moving.
So it's really important that we move, and don't think that you have to have some gym membership in order to get more movement in. No, that's not the case at all. I'm not trying to, if you have the money to go to the gym, by all means, get that membership going. But if not, don't think that you can't exercise otherwise. You don't have to have a full-blown membership at a gym to do this. You can exercise right around your home. You can walk up and down a flight of stairs a couple of times. Let me tell you, it's 3 flights of stairs I got to come up to get here in the studio every day. Yeah, okay. I ain't in shape like I thought I was. So yeah, you can make up your own exercises. You can do squats and lunges right there in your home. You can walk around the house a couple of times. Even just getting up and down from a sitting position, a seated position, that is a form of exercise. If you do it very slowly, 3 or 4 times, it's a great exercise, not just to improve circulation, but also to build muscle. You can be creative with how you exercise more. So, just find a way. You fill up 2-gallon bottles of water and use that to help, in places of weights. If you don't have weights around the home or whatever, find a way to exercise more. Now, with our situation being what it is here in New Providence, if you do decide to go walking, especially if you're female, I suggest you do it in groups. Don't make yourself, don't put yourself in a vulnerable position, but find a way to exercise more, to move more. I think, Ben did a great job of explaining why that is important. So I don't have to go into that any more than he already did, but you got to find a way to move. Okay. And it doesn't, again, have to be anything that's going to cost you more money. But you definitely want to find a way to move more, to get that lymphatic system going, especially if you're trying to detox. Is that a caller for the show? Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hi, good afternoon. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
Pretty good. Calling from Freeport. It is a hurricane season, and you always talk about healthy food, what we should be eating.
Mm-hmm.
What healthy foods should we be stocking up on? Because everybody's going to stock up on spaghetti and, beanie sausage and that kind of thing. What healthy food can we be stocking up on? Thank you.
I'll briefly answer you, but I only have a few minutes left in the show, and I want to make sure I cover everything that I intended to cover, because we're talking about a very specific thing today. So, you have to be, I know that with perishables, like we talk about, eating more greens, etc., but they are perishable. So some of greens that you get can be frozen. So for instance, if you don't have an issue with your thyroid and things like kale are fine, you can freeze them, but you can also ferment foods. And that's a great way to store foods long term if you ferment them. So for instance, if you decide to ferment cabbage, just requires water, salt. Go to YouTube and it'll tell you how to ferment foods. Okay, you can store a whole year of healthy foods, fruits and vegetables, if you find a way to store them long term. Okay, so if you go to YouTube and you type in fermentation or how to ferment foods, and fermented foods are really good for digestion. That's a great way to stock up, because you need to be stocking up because there's shortages that are coming. So that's a great way to make sure that you continue to have fruits and vegetables in your diet year round. Okay, so that's a quick answer. Normally I would go deeper, but I don't want to take more time away from, we only have a limited amount of time and we're talking about a specific topic today. Okay. So Getting back to what we are discussing today, which is the square of health, the 4 pegs of health. And more specifically, now we're talking about movement, why it's important for you to make sure that you're getting adequate movement in your life. If you do not get sufficient exercise, there are consequences. You're going to pay for it. Leading a more active lifestyle does take time, effort, and determination, but in the end, it's really, really worth it. And here's what happens to your body when you exercise regularly.
If you're thinking about leading a more active lifestyle, you're not alone. In recent years, an increasing number of Americans have started participating in more sports, fitness, and recreation. Whether you're trying to get fit, build muscle, or you're just tired of the couch, here are some changes you can expect along the way. During that first workout, you might feel more alert and energized because ramping up your heart rate means a boost in overall blood flow and oxygen to the brain. But prepare yourself for the day after, when you'll almost certainly get a case of DOMS, short for delayed onset muscle soreness. The soreness will persist for about 72 hours, but the good news is you're less likely to get it again as long as you continue to regularly exercise those same muscles. Over the next few weeks, you'll slowly start to ramp up production of mitochondria via a process called mitochondrial biogenesis. Mitochondria are the parts of your cells that convert carbs, fat, and protein into fuel that your muscles use to do their job, like flex and contract. After 6 to 8 weeks, studies have shown that people can increase their mitochondria by up to 50%. With more mitochondria in your cells, you'll start to feel more fit and your endurance will increase, so running 3 miles will no longer feel as difficult as it did during the first week. Once you're 6 months in, all of that hard work should finally start to show. If your workouts focus on strength training, you'll notice your muscles begin to take shape. You're also less likely to fall off the workout wagon at this point. Exercise programs often see a 50% dropout rate within the first 6 months, but after that, more people stick with it. Now, if you're more focused on cardio, then by 9 months of regular exercise, you should see about a 25% increase in your VO2 max. VO2 max is often used as a measure of fitness and refers to the rate your body can transport oxygen to your muscles for fuel. Basically, higher VO2 max means you can run faster for longer, so a 25% increase means you can run about 20% further in the same amount of time. After 1 year of regular exercise, your bones will be denser, which reduces your risk of osteoporosis. In fact, researchers have found that regular resistance training, when combined with aerobic exercise, can actually reverse the effects of osteoporosis after 12 months. Now, if you maintain your exercise program long term, your body might not be the only thing to benefit. Your bank account may also beef up. One study revealed that older people who exercised 5 days a week for at least 30 minutes saved on average $2,500 a year in medical costs for heart-related health problems alone. You'll also be at a lower risk of developing arthritis, type 2 diabetes, dementia, and certain types of cancer like breast and colon. In all probability, you are going to live longer than you otherwise would. And that longer life, it will likely feel more fulfilling, because exercise lowers the risk of anxiety and depression by reducing levels of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Of course, all of these benefits depend on the type and intensity of your workout and how long you exercise for each week. A balanced diet is also paramount to a healthy lifestyle. For the average adult ages 18 to 64, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services recommends either a minimum of 2.5 hours per week of moderately intense exercise, like brisk walking or biking, or at least 1 hour and 15 minutes each week that combines moderate and high-intensity workouts like running and swimming sprints. On top of that, make sure and take 2 days each week to strengthen your muscles with some weights or resistance training. This will help your overall speed and endurance. As you begin, it's important to pace yourself and not push too hard too fast, or you risk serious injury. You'll discover that the fitter you become, the easier it will be to exert a little more energy the next week, the week after, and so forth. Exercise smart and often, and you'll be running marathons in no time.
And let me tell you, when you really start to take exercise seriously, I'm not talking about the level of being a bodybuilder or anything like that. I'm just talking about being committed to a regular program. Your body will get stronger, and it doesn't matter how old you are when you start. And I'm preaching to myself right now because I need to get back on track with my exercise, program. But I remember when I was really in shape back in the day, when I was what they call a gym rat. I used to be in the gym at least 4 to 5 times a week, at least. I even had a personal trainer, guy named Malcolm. You might see him around town. He looks like Mr. Clean, only bigger. Malcolm was actually from Sweden. Is from Sweden, I should say. Personal trainer. And he approached me one night in the gym. I was in there working out by myself. He said, "So what are you trying to do?" I said, "Oh, I'm trying to get in shape." He says, it's not going to happen like that." And he convinced me to hire him as my personal trainer. And boy, did it make a difference. Malcolm had me so strong that I was actually squatting more weight than some guys in the gym. I was squatting more than double my weight. I remember one night in particular, we would work in legs, and I used to be his final client for the night. So we used to literally be the last ones in the gym. And there was this group of guys they were standing by watching us, and he was just loading those really big weights onto the bar. And so this one guy says to him, "My boy, you putting them weights on there for you, eh?" Because he had me, I was so lean. I was down to like 19% body fat. So I was very lean. So if you're looking at me and my size, you're thinking there's no way this skinny girl could lift all that weight. And so the guy was like, you putting them on there for you, eh?" So Malcolm was like, "No, it's for her." So the guy was like, "But you try to hide this girl." He says, "No, she can do it." And, I bust out 10. I think that was like 285. The guy said, "Mother sick, this girl lifting more than me." I say, "Oh, well, I can try that now." But I say all that to say that your body gets stronger and stronger the more you do it. But you don't want to overdo it, because that is just as bad. You can actually do too much, and that's not good.
Exercising is supposed to be good for you. It can help you stay at a healthy weight, improve your cardiovascular health, and even ward off depression. But like most things, it's possible to overdo it. And getting too much exercise can have serious consequences on your body and brain. So what exactly is too much exercising? Well, it depends on factors like your age, health, and choice of workouts. But in general, adults should get about 5 hours a week of moderate exercise, or 2.5 hours or more of intense activity, or some combination of the two. That's according to the CDC. But research shows that going way above and beyond doesn't necessarily increase your health benefits. One unsurprising study found that light to moderate runners had a lower risk of death than people who didn't exercise. But in a surprising turn, some people who ran at a faster pace for more than 3 times a week had a similar risk of dying as non-runners. So running too much and too intensely seems to undo some of the health benefits gained from regular running. Extreme endurance exercises like ultramarathons may also lead to heart damage, heart rhythm disorders, and enlarged arteries in some people. Experts believe that extreme endurance puts extreme demands on the cardiovascular system. One study found that repeated extreme exercises can remodel the heart, thickening the muscle's walls and scarring tissue. Another study showed that women were less likely to have a heart attack or stroke if they were physically active at least once a week. But that risk of heart attacks and strokes shot up for women who exercise strenuously every day. So, excessive exercise doesn't provide more benefits than moderate exercise, and it could be more risky. Women are at a particular risk for what's known as female athlete triad. That includes loss of menstruation, osteoporosis or bone mineral loss, and eating disorders. These symptoms usually arrive from a combination of overexercise and calorie restriction. For men, intense exercise has been shown to decrease libido, possibly due to physical fatigue and lower testosterone levels. For both men and women, overexercise raises the risk of overuse injuries like tendinitis and stress fractures. These injuries result from repetitive trauma. Your immune system can likewise suffer. While moderate exercise can improve your immune system, excessive exercise can actually suppress it. There's up to a 72-hour open window of impaired immunity after intense exercise. This basically means that viruses and bacteria have an easier time invading and infecting the body, and athletes who overexercised also experienced more upper respiratory tract infections. So we know excessive exercise can wreak havoc on your body, particularly your heart, tendons, ligaments, and immune system. And for around 1 million people in the US, exercise addiction is wreaking havoc on their brains. Symptoms of exercise addiction include withdrawal. That's when you feel anxious or exhausted when you miss a workout, or feeling a lack of control and unable to cut down on exercise, even when you know it's hurting you. Now, it's important to understand that you shouldn't just give up on exercising. The key is to get the right amount. So feel free, go forth and run. Just not all the time.
So there's something that you also need to understand when it comes to exercise. And this is why athletes, professional athletes, often more than other people, have an issue with injuries. Because when you sweat, that's not just water that is coming out of your pores, but all of a lot of the nutrients that you would have taken in. It's like a nutrient soup that you're sweating out. And so if you are very, very active, if you're a professional athlete, or if you exercise a whole lot and you sweat a lot, you have to replenish what you are sweating out. Otherwise, you are more susceptible to breaking down. So we go right back to the first peg on the square of health, which is nutriate. So you see how it all relates? If you are exercising in particular, and if you sweat a lot, even, whatever you're doing that's going to cause you to sweat a lot, you have to nutriate, because otherwise you're sweating a lot of those nutrients out. And if you're not replenishing, you are making yourself more susceptible to injury or degeneration. That's why professional athletes often get injured, because they're constantly sweating. And if they're not properly replenishing, they can be prone to injuries. So, movement is important. Not overdoing it is equally important. And nutriating is important if you're going to move, if you're going to exercise, because you have to put back in what your body is releasing out. So, Norm, remember the guy, Norm, nutriate, oxygenate, rest and relaxation, and move. Those are the 4 pegs, the 4 corners of the square of health. And if we pay attention to those 4 corners and we take care of the triangle of disease, remember we talked about that. Making sure that we're not being exposed to any kind of toxin, making sure that we're not damaging our bodies by eating poorly. I'm telling you with 100% certainty that you will be far healthier than you are now. If you're dealing with any kind of non-communicable disease, any kind of chronic sickness, it can be fixed. We just have to pay attention to the triangle of disease and the square of health, giving yourself the best possible chance of being well by not doing the ongoing damage by eating the bad foods, the fried foods and the gluten and all those other things that are not good for you. Giving yourself a fighting chance of being well and making sure that you are not being exposed to some kind of environmental toxin. I'm telling you, your body knows what to do. And my encouragement to you today is to give it a chance to prove that it does. That's my time, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Wellness Wednesday. We have another great show planned for you tomorrow, so make sure you tune in. And then, of course, every Friday is open line, and we didn't do an open line last Friday because of the holiday. And my God, so much has happened. We got a lot to talk about. So make sure you tune into GPS for the next couple of days. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for being here, and have a good afternoon.
Global 99.5 FM reminds